Indian literature, particularly Indian literature in English, Indian writers who write in English. So that is a history of Indian English literature. So very importantly, the Indian writing in English started with Dean Muhammad. Dean Muhammad, born in Bihar, and he was a fugitive slave. So first diaspora writer, we can say him. First diaspora writer. So Travels of Dean Muhammad, 1793, is a travel narrative. So that you remember. In diaspora literature, we get his name in the precursors list, so that you get the idea, you remember that. So his work is Travels of Dean Muhammad, a travel narrative. So first pamphlet by an Indian in English appeared in 1806, that is the report of Subro. Subro is a letter to secretary, Madras School, by Venelakanti Subro, 3 years before Raja Ram Mohan Roy's letter. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, you know already, who wrote a letter to British government to introduce English education in India. Okay. So first play by an Indian in English is Krishna Mohan Banerjee's The Persecuted. The Persecuted. So already Macaulay minute is given here. So some disturbance is okay. Macaulay minute. So first Indian novel, this you have to remember, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Raj Mohan's Wife. First Indian fiction, first Indian novel started with Raj Mohan's Wife in 1864, written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So that is very, very important. And the first Indian author to win literary award in USA is Dan Gopal Mukherjee. Dan Gopal Mukherjee. Next point you have to concentrate, Writers Workshop. Writers Workshop was founded by P. Lal. Very important, previously asked this question. Writers Workshop was published by P. Lal, a publisher, translator, and essayist. Okay, he is the pioneer of modern English poetry, the anthology of modern Indo-Anglican poetry, 1959. So, trio of writers of Indian English are known as Raja Rao, Mulkraj Anand, R.K. Narayan. So these three are known as a trio of Indian English. Next, three musketeers of Bengal literature. Those are Tagore, R.C. Dutt, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Next, coming to Raja Rao. Raja Rao was born in the state of Mysore in Karnataka, in a Brahman's family. So he was much influenced, inspired by Professor Dickinson. Professor Dickinson at Aligarh University. at Aligarh University. So, with his inspiration, he studied French literature. He studied French literature. So, this you have to be keep in your mind that Professor Dickinson's inspiration made him to study French literature. So, his works are not given in the order. First work is Kantapura. So, first work you give number 1, 1938. So, Kantapura deals with the Gandhian struggle of independence, Gandhian struggle of independence, civil disobedient movement. So, in this Achakka, an old lady narrates the whole story in the form of Sthala Purana. So this is very important. Underline this. So which of the following novels relate to the Sthala Purana? So in that way you remember Kantapura. So Kantapura is a traditionally caste-ridden Indian village. So totally dominated by Brahmins. Totally dominated by Brahmins. Murthy is the main character of this story. Achakka is the narrator. Murthy is the protagonist. Murthy is the protagonist. So this story telling is run in the form of Harikatha. Harikatha is a traditional form of storytelling which is practiced in the villages. So Harikatha is the traditional storytelling form of Kantapura. So this was once asked this question, Harikatha, the traditional storytelling related to which of the following works? So which of the following author? So in such a way question was asked. Next, The Cat and the Shakespeare, 1965. 1965. So metaphysical comedy, this is metaphysical comedy. So the cat represents the Hindu concept of karma. The cat represents the Hindu concept of karma. And Ramakrishna Pai. Ramakrishna Pai is the protagonist and the narrator. And one more important work is there. You note it down, The Cow of Barricades. The Cow of Barricades and Other Stories, 1947. So, which was written in French. Which was written in French. So, you remember this. You note it down. So, The Cow of Barricades. So, written in French. Raja Rao and Mulkaraj Anand, R.K. Narayan are very, very important in Indian English literature. That's why some elaborated details I am giving you. So you please note them down. So the work written in French, The Cow of Barricades and Other Stories. Okay. Next, Serpent and the Rope. The Serpent and the Rope. This is the second novel, 1960. This is so semi-autobiographical story. This is so this much is enough. So here important work. One more work is there. Note it down. The Chess Master and His Moves. The Chess Master and His moves. So it has 3 books in it. So he used the metaphor chess game to animate philosophical and psychological ideas. Philosophical and psychological ideas are given in the form of chess as a metaphor. Okay, so the chessmate and his moves. Okay, next Mulkraj Anand. Mulkraj Anand was born in 1905. So he was regarded as the Zola or Balzac of Balzac of India. Okay. So Charles Dickens of India also. He was regarded as Charles Dickens of India, one of the founding fathers of Indian English novel. Indian English novels. Okay. Next, in this we have the village. So the first work in the trilogy, that is the village across the black waters, the sword and sickle. The sword spelling wrong undandi. You just correct it. SWORD, sword and sickle. So in this protagonist, Lalu. Protagonist Lalu. Okay. So across village protagonist Lalu. So across black waters, across black waters protagonist is Lalu, and it describes the experiences of Lalu as a Sipai. Experiences of Lalu as a Sipai in the Indian Army fighting on behalf of Britain against Germans in the World War I. So this across the black water is the backdrop of World War I. So in such a way you write background. So that is World War I. Next, the sword and the sickle is a satire on the rise of communism. The satire on the rise of communism. Okay. So next one is untouchable. So very important novel. So E.M. Foster wrote a preface for this novel. So he met while working on T.S. Eliot's Criterion. Okay. So he worked in Criterion magazine. So written introduction by E.M. Foster, and a stream of consciousness. It is one day experiences of the protagonist. Who's the protagonist?
Baka.
Baka's life, day-to-day life. So it is described in stream of consciousness. So you already know this. It's a toilet cleaner. Finally, he wanted technology should replace the problems of these toilet cleaners. So ultimately, he concludes with the technology. He hopes for technology. So this is about untouchable. Next, private life of an Indian prince. Private life of an Indian prince. So it is autobiographical work. The Road. So in this, the main character is Bhikkhu. Bhikkhu had many similarities with Baka. Had many similarities with Baka. So his autobiography is in 7 parts. His autobiography is in 7 parts. So 7 summers, morning phase, won Sahitya Academy Award. Next, the big heart, Coolie. So set in Bombay, this is Bombay slums. Munu, a 14-year-old boy, is the protagonist of this novel. So it is about the plights of the slum dwellers, poverty. So 2 leaves and a bird. 2 leaves and a bird is a story about a poor Punjabi labor, Gangu. 2 leaves and a bird lo protagonist Gangu. So brutally exploited in tea plantation. This is about a tea plantation. So background of this novel is a tea plantation. So exploited labors. So this is mainly about the plights of laborers in the tea plantation in Assam. That is this the 2 leaves and a bird become a thing. Sir. Sir. Okay, sir. So where shall I start, sir? Where shall I dictate? Can you please give the clarity?
The sword and the sickle, sir.
Sword and Sickle is a satire on communism, madam. Rise of communism. Is a satire on rise of communism.
Okay, sir. And
Next,
the
the road. So in this, Bhikkhu is the main character. Bhikkhu is the main character. So he had many similarities with Baka. He had many similarities with Baka. Next, we have a autobiography in 7 parts, that is 7 summers. Morning Face. Morning Face won Sahitya Academy Award. Morning Face won Sahitya Academy Award. Okay. Next, 2 leaves and a bird. So Punjabi labor. This is about a Punjabi labor, Gangu. So about the plights of laborers Flights of the laborers in a tea plantation. Flights of the laborers in a tea plantation in Assam. Okay. So this two leaves and a bird became a symbol of slavery. Is slavery. Okay. So one more important points with regard to this Mulkaraj Anand is conversations in Bloomsbury. Conversations in Bloomsbury is a memoir about his life in London. Can you write once again this neatly? You note it down. Conversations in Bloomsbury is a memoir about his life in London and the relationship with the Bloomsbury Group. Bloomsbury Group. So this is very important. Anyway, Bloomsbury Group ante manaku బాగా గుర్తుంచుకోండి, అడిగే అవకాశాలు ఎక్కువ ఉండొచ్చు మేబీ, బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు ద ప్యూర్ modern English literature group. This is Bloomsbury Group. So those members already you know, Bloomsbury members, Virginia Woolf. So that is about Mulkaraj Anand. Anyway, you have written this. Next we have R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan, please note down. So creator of fictional village Malgudi. So Rashipuram Krishnaswamy. R.K. Narayan full name Rashipuram Krishnaswamy Narayan. So resident of Madras. So his father name is Krishnaswamy. So Rashipuram Krishnaswamy Narayan. So Graham Greene. Graham Greene is the friend of R.K. Narayan. So he liked so much Narayan's literature and arranged for its publication of his Malgudi days. So Greene was to remain a close friend and admirer of R.K. Narayan. So that you remember Graham Greene, R.K. Narayan, contact connection you remember. Next, Sahitya Academy Award winner for the guide in 1958. So he was the first Indian English writer to win the Sahitya Academy Award. First English writer. Okay. So among his important works, you just observe Swami and Friends, 1935, the first novel, semi-autobiographical novel. So with this, he started his literary career. With novel. So Swami and Friends is the first novel of a trilogy. The remaining two are the Bachelor of Arts and the English Teacher. The Arts and English Teacher. So the Bachelor of Arts, you observe here, the Bachelor of Arts, so Chandran is the main character in that. Chandran is the main character. Next, the teacher Gajapati. The teacher Gajapati who teaches Shakespeare in accented English. Okay, struggles with the timetable, exams, interpolated with the secret cigarette smoking, all this. Anyway, you remember just protagonist, main character Chandran and the teacher Gajapati. That much is enough. Next, next important here once question was asked, MCC, MCC, Malgudi Cricket Club, Malgudi Cricket Club. Once the question was asked, MCC is related to which of the following sport? One question was asked. So, polo, cricket, hockey, kabaddi, like that asked. Many made mistake. So, MCC is the Malgudi Cricket Club, which appears in Swami and Friends. Swami and Friends, MCC. Next one is dark room. Dark room. So first published in Great Britain. This is so Savitri is the main character. Savitri is the main character. So the story can be compared with Doll's House. Doll's House character, Doll's House novel to compare Chesdini because the storyline plot some resembles. So Doll's House lo Nora character untundi. So in this we have a Savitri character. So that is about the dark room. The dark room. Next, the financial expert. So financial expert. The story is in 5 parts. Margaya. Margaya is the protagonist of the story, and he was a proud money lender. Proud money lender. So Balu is the son of Margaya, and he marries Brinda. So the Balu is quite opposite to Margaya. So he is a money lender as well as a pious man. Means he doesn't want to spend money. So even for necessary activities also. So Balu is a different from Margaya. So theme of this novel is lust for money. Theme of this novel is lust for money. Next, Mr. Sampath. Mr. Sampath is the another novel. So the printer of Malgudi is the story of relationships. So actually, Mr. Sampath is the editor of the newspaper, The Banner. Editor of the newspaper, The Banner. So that much is enough. Next, the guide. Guide. is a important novel guide. So Raju is the protagonist of this one. Next from Raju, Railway Raju. Full name is Railway Raju. So this is about Raju's story. Next one is Man Eater of Malgudi. Man Eater of Malgudi. So this is Narayan bases the story. The basis for this story is Bhasmasura, who terrorizes the world, and dies eventually. The novel is a kind of an allegory. So it is a post-colonial story. So Nataraj and Vasu. Nataraj and Vasu are the important characters of this man-eater of Malgudi. You please note them down. Nataraj and Vasu. Nataraj and Vasu. Okay. Next, Waiting for Mahatma. Waiting for Mahatma. This is a novel which has the backdrop of Quit India movement. Quit India movement. You please note down. Quit India movement. So backdrop of this Waiting for Mahatma is Quit India movement. So next, the vendors of sweets. The story illustrates the conflicts between two generations of father and son. Two generations of father and son. Jagan is the vendor of the streets and protagonist. Molly is Jagan's son. Okay. So this is so in this you remember the guide Swami and friends. So the financial expert, the English teacher, waiting for Mahatma. Waiting for Mahatma. You already you might have written that Gandhiji's Quit India movement. Okay. Sri Ram and Bharati are the important characters of this Waiting for Mahatma. Anyway, you include that Sri Ram and Bharati. Sri Ram and Bharati. Next, Rabindranath Tagore. So Rabindranath Tagore, first Asian to become Nobel laureate for his work Geetanjali, song offerings. Okay, he was known as Gurudev, so called by Gandhiji, and the board of Bengal. So he established a Vishwa Bharati University, that is a Shantiniketan at West Bengal. Okay. So from historical background also, he gave up his knighthood given by British government in protest against Jallianwala Bagh incident in 1919. that you already know that historical event connected to Rabindranath Tagore. Next, his works are very important works. First of all, he wrote two national songs. Two national songs. One is Janagana Mana. Next one is Amar Sona Bangla. Even today, they are the national songs of two nations. Already Janagana is our national song, and Amar Sona Bangla is a Bangladesh national song written by Rabindranath Tagore. So, so where the mind is without fear is one of the poems from Gitanjali. So his novels are Gora, Broken Nest, The Home and the World, The Home and the World, The House and the World undandi. The Home and the World అని రాసుకోండి. Next, his autobiography, My Reminiscences. Next, Gora Bairi, set in the backdrop of partition time, 1947. The partition novel, we can say that. Next, Rabindranath Tagore's important works. One more thing, you write Chitra, one act play. The Genius Valmiki play. The Sacrifice play. Dak Ghar, the post office, famous famous play by Rabindranath Tagore. Next, Chandalika. Chandalika, the untouchable girl. Chandalika, that you write down, sorry, please write down. Play. This is a play written by Tagore. Next, have you written this Chitra, one act play? Genius Valmiki. Genius Valmiki. Next, The Sacrifice. Next, The Post Office. Okay. One of the important short stories of Rabindranath Tagore is Kabuli Wala. Very important. The Kabuli Wala. So you note it down. Kabuli Wala. The Kabuli Wala. సో ద హోమ్ అండ్ ద వరల్డ్ కి నేరేటర్స్ 3 మెంబర్స్ ఉన్నారండి. అదొకటి ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ రాసుకోండి. ద హోమ్ అండ్ ద వరల్డ్, నంబర్ ఆఫ్ నేరేటర్స్ 3. నంబర్ ఆఫ్ నేరేటర్స్ 3. నంబర్ ఆఫ్ నేరేటర్స్ 3. నెక్స్ట్ అమితావ్ ఘోష్. అమితావ్ ఘోష్, very important diaspora writer. So Indian born English novelist Amitav Ghosh, born in Calcutta. So got Padma Shri in 2007. Okay. So is a novel around the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. So it is important uh, geographical connectivity. Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean. So next, he was sorry, he is a very famous writer, diaspora writer, and his novels are very good resources for researchers for writing contemporary issues. So those once you go through this, the circle of reason, the circle of reason. So it is divided into three sections. So namely the sattva, which means reason, rajas, passion, tamas means death. Sattva, raja, tamas. These are the Sanskrit words. So those meanings are given. So in that way, three parts of this novel also, or three parts of the three terms of Sanskrit. Next one is shadow lines. Shadow lines is a first you write down please partition novel. This is about partition of India. Partition of India. So set against the backdrop of Swadeshi movement, World War II and partition of India. So we can call it as a partition novel. So we discussed while discussing train to Pakistan, all those I gave you some details regarding this partition novel, which is important novel on the backdrop of Indian independence movement. So this is also the Shadow Lines, very important novel. So written by Amitav Ghosh. So split into two parts. This is going away and coming home. Two parts ఉంటుంది ఇందులో. So going away, coming home. So this prestigious Sahitya Academy Award, he received prestigious Sahitya Academy Award for this novel. So Shadow Lines. Shadow Lines. So in this Tridip is the protagonist of this novel. So shall I repeat once again? The Shadow Lines. Shadow Lines. Okay. So it is a backdrop of Swadeshi movement, World War II, partition of India. Next point is split into two parts. This novel. First one is going away. Going away, coming home. Going away, coming home. So these are the two parts. Next, psychoanalytical elements are there in this novel. Psychoanalytical elements. Psychoanalytical elements are there in this novel. Next one is an antique land. An antique land. An antique land So this antique land is about it comes out of his research in 1980 while living in a small village in Egypt. So Egypt background. This is backdrop of Egypt. Next one is Calcutta chromosome. Calcutta chromosome. So set at an unspecified in the future. It is a medical thriller. Underline it, medical thriller. It is loosely based on the life of Sir Ronald Ross. Ronald Ross, do you know Ronald Ross? మలేరియా ఎపిడమిక్ మీద రీసెర్చ్ చేసినటువంటి సర్ రోనాల్డ్ రాస్. సర్ రోనాల్డ్ రాస్. సో this is a Calcutta chromosome means about Ronald Ross and malaria research. You just remember that much is enough for this. Next, Hungry Tide. Hungry Tide. So set in Sundarbans. So Sundarbans. Mostly Amitav Ghosh novels relate to the ecology. So theme of environment, theme of ecology. So that you remember. So the Hungry Tide is set in the Sundarbans. Pia and Fakir. Pia and Fakir are the prime characters of this novel. So Pia Roy. Pia Roy. So marine biologist. Marine biologist. If Fakir is a illiterate fisherman. Illiterate fisherman. So the story about these two is the Hungry Tide. The Hungry Tide. Next, Hungry Tide, that much is okay. Next here, Khaja Ahmad Abbas. Khaja Ahmad Abbas, a very minor author. You just, once you see here, Inquilab, Blood and Stones, Defeat for Death, A Story Without Names, Tomorrow is Ours, and Mera Naam Joker. So, this is a minor author, Khaja Ahmad Abbas, not much important. Next, A.K. Ramanujan. Next, A.K. Ramanujan. Very important author. A.K. Ramanujan. So, so he renowned for English poet who worked as a professor in the USA. So bilingual poet in Kannada as well as in English. So born in Mysore, Karnataka, and his important terms are there. First, you see here, cultural essay, that is there an Indian way of thinking? Is there an Indian way of thinking? Is an essay. So context sensitive. So he established the notion context sensitive. Context sensitive. Opposite to context free. context free, context sensitive. So he established context sensitive in opposition to context free. So these are the terms from linguistics. ఈ లింగ్విస్టిక్స్ లో ఉండేటువంటి టర్మ్స్ కి సంబంధించినటువంటిది. టు హిమ్ కాంటెక్స్ట్ సెన్సిటివ్ ఈజ్ an appropriate term of others' view and reaction towards inconsistency, hypocrisy, tolerance, and mimicry of Indian tendency. So this you just remember this term context sensitive. That is enough. Context sensitive. So this Edward Said, Edward Said Orientalism work is very important in case of post-colonial literature. Dantlo, in the context, he cites the example of Edward Said Orientalism. ఈ కాంటెక్స్ట్ సెన్సిటివ్ యూజ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఈ ఎడ్వర్డ్ సైద్ ఓరియంటలిజం ను మెన్షన్ చేశాడని చెప్పి మనకు ఉంది. యూ జస్ట్ నోట్ ఇట్ డౌన్. కాంటెక్స్ట్ సెన్సిటివ్ cited by Ramanujan about Said's Orientalism. Said's Orientalism. Next, he was influenced by, his poetry was influenced by Wallace Stevens, William Carroll Williams, Philip Larkin, Ted Hughes. So just that is not important. He translated many from Tamil and Kannada into English. For example, you are Anantamurthi's Sanskara. Sanskara he translated into English. Sanskara was written in Kannada. Samskara. Okay. His works are the interior landscape. The interior landscape. The interior landscape. Next, speaking of Shiva. Speaking of Shiva. Hymns for drawing. Hymns for drawing. Next, collections of poems. You just write down collection of poems. The Striders. The Striders, very important. The Striders, 1966. Relations, 1971. Second Thought, 1986. Second Thought, 1986. Astronomer. 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 Next, Poems of Love. Poems of Love. Poems of Love. These are very, very important. Once the question was asked in net, Striders, Relations, Second Thought, Astronomer, all these Astronomer publication date is not mentioned. So anyway, if you have time, you can, I will give you in the next class. So these three are given. The chronologically published order will be asked once once was asked, in future maybe chances are there. So striders relations very important. You remember that. Next, where mirrors are windows. Where mirrors are windows. Intertextuality of Indian literature. This is intertextuality of Indian literature. So anyway, 300 Ramayanas, 5 examples and 3 thoughts on translation. Very minor author. You just Kagaz ke Canvas, Jnanpith Award, Pinjar, so Kala Gulab, Black Rose, Rasidi Ticket. Okay. Next, going back to Anita Desai. Anita Desai, very important author. Anita Desai, diaspora writer. So, born in India and settled in America. So, Cry the Peacock. So, she was the winner of Sahitya Academy Award in 1978, Sahitya Academy, for her novel Fire on the Mountain. Fire on the Mountain. The 5th one is given already here. Anyway, so first important novel, award-winning novel, first we have to focus. That's why Fire on the Mountain. So she received a Sahitya Academy Award in 1978 for this novel. Next, Cry the Peacock. So very important. So Cry the Peacock, psychological novel. So in this Maya, the daughter of a rich Brahmin, and who, when she was a child, an astrologer told that after 4 years of marriage, she and her husband would die. So due to that fear, she loses her balance of mind and kills her husband. And this novel depicts the inner psychological dilemma of Maya. So it is a psychological backdrop novel. So Cry the Peacock, a very important novel of Anita Desai. Next, she was shortlisted for Booker Prize several times. Clear Light of Day. So Clear Light of Day is a partition novel. Partition novel. This is Clear Light of Day by Anita Desai. In Custody, Fasting and Feasting. Fasting and Feasting. Bye Bye Blackbird. Bye Bye Blackbird. So In Custody, Baumgartner's Bombay, Fasting and Fasting Feasting, 1999. Next, The Zigzag Way, The Zigzag Way. So Anita Desai's novels are very important. So concentrate. So in this Bye Bye Blackbird, Blackbird means immigrant. Blackbird means immigrant who migrates to other country. So that you write. Blackbird here is immigrant. No. So Anita Desai's Cry the Peacock has been considered as the first step in the direction of psychological fiction. First psychological fiction in Indian writing in English. Indian writing in English, so that you remember. Try the Peacock. So first English psychological novel written by an Indian. Next, Voices of the City. So Voices of the City about three siblings, Amla, Niroda, and Monisha, and their miserable conditions of life in Calcutta. So Voices of City, here city is Calcutta. So next, Where Shall We Go This Summer? So fourth novel, Where Shall We Go This Summer? Fourth novel. Sita is the protagonist of this novel. Sita is the protagonist of the novel. Next, Fire on the Mountain. It is a story set at the backdrop of Shimla Hills. Simla Hills. So in which we have Nanda Kaul. So a lady protagonist. Next, Arundhati Roy. So god of small things. God of small things. So Booker Prize winner in 1997 for her first novel. This is. Next, here Papachi, Mamachi, Ammu marries Baba. This so this Ayaminam is a part of Kottayam. This place is important. Set the novel is set here, so that you remember. That much is enough. Next, the Algebra of Infinite Justice. So collection of essays. So the Great Common Good. So Narmada Dam. It is about Narmada Dam. So remember that one. Next, Arun Balakrishna Kolatkar. He is well known for his Jejuri poems only. Jejuri poems. That much is enough. Jejuri is a temple in Maharashtra. That is enough. Next, Ahluwalia, Hermit Kingdom, Ladakh. Next, Aurobindo Ghosh, Sri Aurobindo. So famous spiritual leader. So he was known as a firebrand of India. So his works are Savitri, The Life Divine, Essays on Gita, Essays on Bhagavad Gita, Essays on Bhagavad Gita. So next, Aravind Adiga. Aravind Adiga, Booker Prize winner. Booker Prize winner for his work, The White Tiger. The White Tiger. Next, so the White Tiger represents a darkly witty perception of India's class struggle in a globalized world. So India's struggle in a globalized world. So Balram Halwai. Balram Halwai is the protagonist. Balaram Halwai is the protagonist. Next one is Between the Assassinations. So assassinations, 2008, period between Indira and Rajiv Gandhi's assassinations. So these two are very important works of Aravind Adiga. Next, Arun Joshi. Arun Joshi, The Lost Labyrinth. Lost Labyrinth. Next, Bama. Bama is a Tamil Dalit feminist, well known for Karukku and Sangati. Okay. Next important work, next important author, Bhavani Bhattacharya. Very important, Bhavani Bhattacharya. So her important works are So Many Hungers. So Many Hungers, published in 1947. So first novel, So Many Hungers. Hungers anagane manaku we can understand that it deals with poverty, hunger and exploitation. We can understand with the title that it is dealing with poverty, hunger and exploitation of the farmers. So during the man-made famine of Bengal during the Second World War. So this is about backdrop of Second World War and Bengal famine. Okay, drought. Okay. Next, He Who Rides a Tiger. Very important work. He Who Rides a Tiger. The title is borrowed from a well-known proverb saying that is, he who rides the tiger can't dismount. He who rides the tiger can't dismount. అనేటువంటి proper saying, proper quotation. So Kalo is the protagonist. Kalo, K-A-L-O. Kalo is the protagonist of the novel. Kalo is the blacksmith. Kalo is the blacksmith. This is about blacksmith Kalo's story. Next, music of Mohini. So Shadow from Ladakh. Gandhi the writer. So next important work we have Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, father of Bengali fiction. Father of Bengali fiction. So Bangadarshan. He started Bengali literary magazine that is Bangadarshan. Bangadarshan in 1892. So he was well known as the author of Vande Mataram in Anand Math. Okay. So his works are The Poison Tree. The Poison Tree. It is based on Hindu life in Bengal in English period. It is about Hindu life in Bengal in English period. Means in English ruling, under the British rule. Under the British rule, the position of Hindus. This is about the poison tree. The poison tree. Next, Kapal Kundala. Kapal Kundala, a rural background novel. So, Nabakumar is the protagonist. So, that is enough. Next, Anand Math, the patriotic novel on Bengal famine. Patriotic novel on Bengal famine. So, national song That is Vande Mataram is there in this novel. Next, Raj Mohan's wife, the first Indian English novel. First novel. So, next one is Mrunalini. Mrunalini is one more novel, a patriotic novel, Mrunalini. Mrunalini. Next, the Krishnakant's Will. The Krishnakant's Will. The Krishnakant's Will, or the works of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Next, Chetan Bhagat. So very important author, modern, postmodern author. Very important day-to-day life. We have we have a discussion regarding the many works of this Chetan Bhagat. So famous Indian author. So his stories are based on modern themes. So famous modern day fiction writer. So his works are Half Girlfriend, Half Girlfriend. Next, One Indian Girl. So next, One Night at the Call Center. One Night at the Call Center. The story revolves around 6 people. The story revolves around 6 people, 3 men and 3 female. To be precise, working in the same group. They have 6 different lives altogether, but all of them were interconnected. So the story centers on the phone call, the call made by the God. God made a phone call to this important point. Stories. Next, 5 Point Someone. So very important novel. Most of his novels are screened, means made into movies. So Half Girlfriend recently released Half Girlfriend novel, a movie. Next, 5 Point Someone, What Not to Do at IIT, the subtitle. So Three Idiots movie this is about. So if you watch that one, you can understand the story of this 5 Point Someone. That is enough. Next, 3 Mistakes of My Life. 3 Mistakes of My Life. So next one is these are the important novels. Chitra Banerjee is there. Just Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, very small minor author. So Harp of India, The Fakir Jahangira, A Metrical Tale, To India, My Native Land, Sonnet. India is compared to Golden Eagle in chains. Next, one point is missing here. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. You just Note it down. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. So, diaspora writer, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. So, arranged marriage is a collection of short stories. Arranged marriage is a collection of short stories. Arranged marriage is a collection of short stories. So, Shivaprasad sir raised his hand. Sir, can you speak? Hello? Shivaprasad sir, what is your doubt? So anyway, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, very important author. You just write 3 novels are there. The Palace of Illusions. The Palace of Illusions. It is about Draupadi. So Mahabharata's story, based on Mahabharata stories. The Palace of Illusions. The Palace of Illusions. Next, the Mistress of the Mistress of Spices. The Mistress of Spices. The Mistress of Spices. Next, Queen of Dreams. Queen of Dreams. So you remember this. Palace of Illusions, important. So American Indian author, this Chitra, American Indian girl, Indian author, sorry. So Geeta Hariharan, so diaspora writer. So thousand faces of a night, thousand faces of a night, first novel. So about 3 generations of women, Devi, Sita and Mayamma. Next, the ghosts of Vasu Master. The ghosts of Vasu Master, about life of Vasu Master after retirement. Next, when dreams travel, the third novel. So retelling of 1001 Arabian Nights. So this is important. Next, Girish Karnad. So important author of Indian English writing, playwright. So Yayati is the first play. So ancestor of Pandavas wants to exchange his youth with one of his sons, Puru. Next, Hayavadana is the second play. Won the Natya Shri Award for the best play in 1971 based on Thomas Mann's play Transposed Heads. So here we already know the important characters Padmini, Kapila and Devadatta. Next, Tughlaq, a play in 13 scenes based on Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Next, Nagamandala. So next, he wrote a screenplay for Samskara by U.R. Anantamurthy. U.R. Anantamurthy Samskara. So he converted that into a play. So screenplay. Next, Ismat Chugtai. Ismat Chugtai, minor author. Next, Jawaharlal Nehru. So letter from a father to his daughter. So he wrote letters to Indira Gandhi when she was studying in Missouri. Next, the discovery of India. Next, glimpses of the world history. Glimpses of the world history. Next, an autobiography towards freedom. Next, Jhumpa Lahiri, very important Bengali origin author settled in America, diaspora author, we can say. Next, interpreter of melodies. Interpreter of melodies. So, short story collection. The Namesake, very important novel, The Namesake. You underline it. Next, Lowland. Lowland. Next, Jayant Mahapatra. Jayant Mahapatra. Jayant Mahapatra is a well-known Indian poet, won the Sahitya Academy Award. Award in 1981. First ever English poet to win Sahitya Academy Award in 1981 for English poetry. Particularly for English poetry, he won Sahitya Academy Award. Jayant Mahapatra. Recently he passed away. Jayant Mahapatra recently passed away. Next, his works are relationship. Okay. Next, Dawn at Puri. Dawn at Puri describes the landscape of Orissa and Puri Jagannath temple. Next, Jeet Thail, minor author, Necropolis, very minor author. Next, Kamala Das, already we know, very modern English author of modern English poet of India. So, mother of Malayalam literature. So, confessional writer, I told you this, Kamala Das, confessional writer who describes so personal feelings and psychological feelings and personal feelings on paper. So an introduction, a poem. She can speak 3 languages, write in 2 and dream in 1. One sentence, the stanza starts with this. Next, Summer in Calcutta, an introduction. Summer in Calcutta, Descendants, the Descendants, the Old Playhouse, the Old Playhouse, My Story, My Grandmother's House, Alphabet of Lust. Alphabet of Lust is a famous her novel. This is, so you underline it. Okay. Next, Kamala Markandeya. Kamala Markandeya. So, Kamala Markandeya, a popular Indian journalist and novelist. So, born in a small town in Mysore in 1924. So, traditional spiritual values of Indian society. Her novels are based on traditional spiritual values of Indian society. So, she boldly depicted the cultural and traditional clashes of different societies. So, bravely, she presented the descriptions regarding culture and tradition and clashes of different societies. Her works are nectar in a sieve. Nectar in a sieve. The title has an allusion to the famous poem by Coleridge, Work Without Hope. Work without hope. The story of Rukmini. So you remember the protagonist. So Rukmini is the character in which of the following novels? Maybe questions may be asked like this. So remember Rukmini. Rukmini is the protagonist of Nectar in a Sieve. Next, Some Inner Fury. Some Inner Fury, a semi-autobiographical story. The story of a young woman in love with an English man. This is a East-West encounter. East-West encounter. Do you know East-West encounter? So East-West encounter is the prime theme in diaspora novels. So one from East, the other from the West, they both marry together and live. Sometimes these marriages lead to a failure. Most of them are unsuccessful. So in such a way, taking that theme, many novels are presented by diaspora writers. So Kamala Markandeya's Some Inner Fury is about East-West encounter. Next, A Silence of Desire. A Silence of Desire. So it is about urging the readers to speak out frankly, to unburden their hearts. Next, A Handful of Rice. A handful of dust, you know already. A handful of dust. Handful of dust is written by Evelyn Waugh. So Handful of Rice written by Kamala Markandeya. So it depicts the life of poor classes in Madras. Handful of rice, గుప్పెడు మెతుకులు అంటాం మనం. సో అదే ఇక్కడ అది దిస్ రిప్రజెంట్స్ పూర్ కండిషన్ ఆఫ్ ద పూర్ ఇన్ మద్రాస్. నెక్స్ట్ గ్రాండ్ మదర్స్ హౌస్, an introduction. The Old Playhouse, our famous poem. Next, Yente Katha, My Story, is her autobiography written in Malayalam, translated to English. I think this is mismatched. You please cut it down. The fifth one and sixth one. The fifth one and sixth one you cut, strike out. In place of them, you write the coffer dams. The coffer dams. Coffer, C-O-F-F-E-R. Coffer dams. This My Story in Malayalam, all this belongs to Kamala Das. You please strike that down. Fifth and sixth. Please note it down. Two more important novels I will give you. Two more important novels by Kamala Markandeya. The Coffer Dams. Next, Two Virgins. Two Virgins. Next, Pleasure City. Pleasure City. Next, Kiran Desai. Kiran Desai. daughter of Anita Desai. Daughter of Anita Desai. Anita Desai's novels are several times shortlisted for Booker Prize, but whereas Anita Desai's first novel, second novel, The Inheritance of Loss, won the Man Booker Prize in 2015. So this you remember. So Hullabalu in the Guava Orchard, so 1998 first novel. So next, Inheritance of Loss, published in 2006, her second book, won 2006 Man Booker Prize. Oh, one wrong is given. 2015 you strike out. A story about journey of Biju. So an illegal immigrant in US who is trying to make a new life in life, and Sai, the anglicized Indian girl living with her grandmother in India. So this is about Kiran Desai. Kiran Desai's important work is Inheritance of Loss only, so that you underline it. So which won Booker Prize. Next, Mahesh Dattani. Mahesh Dattani, 2015, please you strike it out. She got Man Booker Prize in 2006 only. Okay. So Mahesh Dattani's minor author only. Final Solutions, Dance Like a Man. Final Solutions, Dance Like a Man. These are the works of Mahesh Dattani. Next, Manju Kapoor. Manju Kapoor, professor of English at the prestigious Mirinda House in Delhi. Mirinda House in Delhi. So, her first novel, Difficult Daughters. Difficult Daughters. So, received a Commonwealth Award. So, Manju Kapoor, Difficult Daughters. Okay. Next, 1998 story of freedom, a story of a freedom struggle while India fights for freedom from the British Raj. Virmati fights for the freedom to live life on her terms. So Manju Kapoor's Difficult Daughters is important only, that much is enough. M.K. Gandhi, M.K. Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, My Experiments with Truth, My Experiments with Truth. So important autobiography, important autobiography, M.K. Gandhi's important autobiography, My Experiments with Truth. Next, Mahasweta Devi, Mother of 1084, a play written in Bengali as Hazar Churer Ma in 1973. It is about revolt and repression. So Brati is the central character. So it is about Naxalism. It is about Naxalism. Next, Nirad C. Chowdhury. Nirad C. Chowdhury. So, last British imperialist. He is called as the last British imperialist. So the autobiography of unknown Indian is masterpiece. So but controversial book. So he was terminated from government service, so deprived of his pension and blacklisted as an author. So autobiography of unknown Indian, Lord Ripon is the protagonist of this novel. The very first class I told you, the connection is there. So Lord Ripon is the protagonist of this work. Next, passage to India. His passage to India is about his visit to England. Passage to India by E.M. Foster also, one more work is there. Sorry, passage to England. Sorry, passage to England, his visit to England. The next, Nissim Ezekiel. Nissim Ezekiel, very, very important author of Indian English writing. So, Nissim Ezekiel, born in Bombay in a Jewish background family. So, he is known as a barometer of barometer of modern India's literary atmosphere. Barometer of modern India's literary atmosphere. Barometer of పెట్టుకోండి, అక్కడ ఓడి ఉంది, ఓఎఫ్ పెట్టుకోండి. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ father of post independence Indian English verse. So Indian English verse. He co-founded literary magazine Jumpo, Jumpo, Jumpo. Next, the name of India, the names of India. The names of India. Next, he edited the magazine Poetry India. Poetry India magazine ni edit chesadu. He edited Poetry India. He edited Poetry India. Okay. So, his collection of poetry, A Time Machine, 60 poems, Discovery of India, the third, Unfinished Man, the exact women, Snake Skin and other poems, Hymns in Darkness. Okay, so his famous poems are Background Casually. Background Casually describes him as a poet rascal clown in the very first line about his alienation among Catholics. Okay. Next, Night of the Scorpion. Night of the Scorpion. It is about mother's love. It is about mother's love. Night of the Scorpion. రాసుకోండి, లేదండి అక్కడ. Night of the Scorpion about mother's love. Night of the Scorpion about mother's love. Next one is a poet, lover and bird watcher. Poet, lover and bird watcher. So poets are compared to bird watchers. Says best poet waits for words. The common thing in both of them are waiting and watching. Waiting and watching. Okay. Next, the visitor. The visitor. Visitor అంటే జనరల్గా మనకు we have crow. Crow visits our homes. So it is about crow. Reminds childhood stories of crow. Next, Ganga. Ganga. About servant maids. It is about servant maids. Next, Guru. Guru is a poem about bogus gurus, means fake gurus. Fake gurus. Next, very Indian poem in English. Very Indian poem in English. Okay. Next, Island. About his birthplace, Bombay. Next, Professor is a poem. Professor is a poem. So one more important point, previously asked question you write please. Nalini. Nalini. 3-act play. 3-act play. Nalini. 3-act play. Nalini is a 3-act play. Once a question was asked. Nalini, important, very, very important. And Nalini, 3-act play. Next, one non-fiction novel, non-fiction essay is there. You just write Naipal's India and Mine. V.S. Naipal, you know already. Naipal's India and Mine. An essay. So these are the important works of Nissim Ezekiel. And one more important, goodbye party to Miss T.S. Pushpa. Goodbye party, Miss Pushpa T.S. It is a kind of what we say satirical poem of Indian usage, Indians usage of English language. So goodbye party is a very funny poem. If you have time, once click on Google and read a very funny poem, Goodbye Party by Nissim Ezekiel, very important poem. Next, Marriage is a poem by Nissim Ezekiel, Marriage. Okay. Next, Om Prakash Valmiki. So, Jutan, a Dalit's life. That much is enough. Jutan means scraps of food left on plates. Jutan refers to, note down, please note down one point there. Jutan refers to the scraps of food left on plate. Okay, it is given here. You just next, Padmini Sen Gupta, Red Hibiscus. Next, Pravar. Next, very minor author, not at all important. Next, we have Kushwant Singh. Kushwant Singh. Kushwant Singh, famous for a train to Pakistan, a partition novel. Kushwant Singh. So, prominent Indian novelist, lawyer, and information officer, a journalist, editor, everything. So, he has been founder and editor of Yojana magazine, you know already. So, Kushwant Singh. So, Train to Pakistan, his work, a partition novel and historical novel. Manu Mazra, so countryside, village that is. Next, one more work is I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale. I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale. Next, these two are very important. Train to next one is one more important Ghadar, 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 India's first armed revolution. India's first armed revolution, published in 1966. And silence the armed revolution. Black, black. This is also his work. Next, Sarojini Naidu's Nightingale of the East or Nightingale of India. Her famous poems are Indian Weavers, Palanquin Bearers, The Gift of India, Bangle Sellers, The Village, The Bazaars of Hyderabad. Next, The Lady of the Lake wrote on a 6 day. 6 days it is about 1300 lines poem. Next, Golden Threshold, first collection of poems, The Board of Time. Next, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. So, an idealist view of life, Indian philosophy, the Hindu view of life, and some more are there. So, some more missing authors are there. We will discuss this in the next class. So, Keshav sir, so I will wrap up this now. I will continue. The remaining authors also, few more authors are missing in our works. So, I do not want to drag the session. So, we will discuss in the next class, sir. Okay, sir. Well, thank you, participants. So, anyway, so most of the important works and their descriptions are given. That much is enough for you. Actually, sir. Hmm. Most of some more authors are there, but in our notes, those are not covered. Okay, I will continue in the next session, sir. Hmm. Oh, Shashi Tharoor is there, Shashi Deshpande is there, and Koba Day is there. All these are very important only, sir. Swami Vivekananda is there, Upamanyu Chatterjee.